Well, my grandmother, she told me that in the old days, a ewe might be your savior. It is a very lucky thing to have a black ewe. A man married again, and his daughter Ashey Pelt was unhappy. She cried alone, and the black ewe came to her from under the greystone in the field and said, "Don't cry. Go and find a rod behind the stone and strike it 3 times, and whatever you wish will come." So she did as she was bid. She wished to go to a party. Dress and horses and all came to her, but she was bound to be back before 12 o'clock, or all the enchantment would go. All she had would vanish. The sisters, they didn't like her. She was so pretty, and the stepmother, she kept her in rags. She was most lovely. At the party, the prince fell in love with her, and she forgot to get back in time. In her speed a-runnin', she dropped her silk slipper. And the prince, he sent and he went all over the country to find the lady that would fit. When he came to Ashey Pelt's door, he did not see her. The sisters was busy a-nippin' and a-clippin' at their feet to get on the silk slipper, for the king's son, he had given out that he loved the lady so well, he would marry to whoever could fit on that slipper. The sisters, they drove Ashey Pelt out to the road, and they bid her mind the cows. They pared down their feet till one of them could just squeeze it on. But she was in the quare agony, I'm telling you. So off they rode away. But when he was passing the field, the voice of the old ewe cried to the prince to stop. And she says she, "Nip-it-foot and clip-it-foot behind the king's son rides, but Bonnyfoot and Prettyfoot is with the Catherine hides." So he rode back and found her among the cows, and he married her. And if they lived happy, so may you and me. Fair, Brown, and Trembling by Jeremiah Curtin. King Aidan lived in Tir Connell, and he had 3 daughters whose names were Fair, Brown, and Trembling. Fair and Brown had new dresses and went to church every Sunday. Trembling was kept at home to do the cooking and housework. They would not let her go out of the house at all, for she was more beautiful than the other 2, and they were in dread that she might marry before themselves. They carried on this way for 7 years. At the end of 7 years, the son of the king of Omania fell in love with the eldest sister. One Sunday morning, after the other 2 had gone to church, the old henwife came into the kitchen to Trembling and said, "It's at church you ought to be this day, instead of working here at home." "How could I go?" said Trembling. "I have no clothes good enough to wear at church. And if my sisters were to see me there, they'd kill me for going out of the house." "I'll give you," said the henwife, "a finer dress than either of them has ever seen. And now tell me, what dress will you have?" "I'll have," said Trembling, "a dress as white as snow, and green shoes for my feet." Then the henwife put on the cloak of darkness, clipped a piece from the old clothes the young woman had on, and asked for the whitest robes in the world, the most beautiful that could be found, and a pair of green shoes. That moment she had the robe and the shoes, she brought them to Trembling, who put them on. When Trembling was dressed and ready, the henwife said, "I have a honey bird here to sit on your right shoulder, and a honey ring to put on your left. At the door stands a milk-white mare with a golden saddle for you to sit on, and a golden bridle to hold in your hand." Trembling sat on the golden saddle, and when she was ready, the henwife said, "You must not go inside the door of the church, and the minute the people rise up at the end of Mass, you take off and ride home as fast as the mare will carry you." When Trembling came to the door of the church, there was no one inside who could get a glimpse of her, but they were all striving to know who she was. And when they saw her hurrying away at the end of Mass, they ran out to overtake her. But it was no use. She was away before any man could come near her. From the minute she left the church till she got home, she overtook the wind before her and outstripped the wind behind her. She came down at the door, went in, and found the henwife had dinner ready. She took off the white robes and had on her old dress in a twinkling. When the 2 sisters came home, the henwife asked, "Have you any news today from the church?" "We have great news," said they. "We saw a wonderful, grand lady at the church door." The like of the robes she had we have never seen on woman before. It's little that was thought of our dresses beside what she had on, and there wasn't a man at the church from the king to the beggar but was trying to look at her and know who she was. The sisters would give no peace till they had 2 dresses like the robes of the strange lady, but honey birds and honey rings were not to be found. Next Sunday, the 2 sisters went to church again and left the youngest at home to cook the dinner. After they had gone, the henwife came in and asked, "Will you go to church today?" "I would go," said Trembling, "if I could." "What robe will you wear?" asked the henwife. "The finest black satin that can be found, and red shoes for my feet." "What color do you want the mare to be?" "I want her to be so black and so glossy that I can see my reflection in her fur." Then the henwife put on the cloak of darkness and asked for the robes and the mare. That moment she had them. When Trembling was dressed, the henwife put the honey bird on her right shoulder and the honey ring on her left. The saddle on the mare was silver, and so was the bridle. When Trembling sat in the saddle and was going away, the henwife ordered her strictly not to go inside the door of the church, but to rush away as soon as the people rose at the end of Mass, and hurry home on the mare before any man could stop her. That Sunday the people were more astonished than ever, and gazed at her more than the first time. And all they were thinking of was to know who she was. But they had no chance, for the moment the people rose at the end of Mass, she slipped from the church and was in the silver saddle, and home before a man could stop her or talk to her. The henwife had the dinner ready. Trembling took off her satin robe and had on her old clothes before her sisters got home. "What news have you today?" asked the henwife of the sisters when they came from the church. "Oh, we saw the grand strange lady again, and it's little that any man could think of our dresses after looking at the robes of satin that she had on. All at church, from high to low, had their mouths open gazing at her, and no man was looking at us." The 2 sisters gave neither rest nor peace until they got dresses as close to the strange lady's robes as they could find. Of course they were not so good, for the like of those robes could not be found in Erin. When the 3rd Sunday came, Fair and Brown went to church dressed in black satin. They left Trembling at home to work in the kitchen, and told her to be sure and have dinner ready when they came back. After they had gone and were out of sight, the henwife came to the kitchen and said, "Well, my dear, are you for church today?" "I would go if I had a new dress to wear." "I'll get you any dress you ask for. What dress would you like?" asked the henwife. "A dress red as a rose from the waist down, and white as snow from the waist up. A cape of green on my shoulders, and a hat on my head with a red, a white, and a green feather in it, and shoes for my feet, with the toes red, the middle white, and the backs and heels green." The henwife put on the cloak of darkness, wished for all these things, and had them. When Trembling was dressed, the henwife put the honey bird on her right shoulder and the honey ring on her left, and placing the hat on her head, clipped a few hairs from one lock, and had a few from another with her scissors. In that moment the most beautiful golden hair was flowing down over the girl's shoulders. Then the henwife asked what kind of a mare she would ride. She said white, with blue and gold-colored diamond-shaped spots all over her body. On her back a saddle of gold, and on her head a golden bridle. The mare stood before the door, with a bird sitting between her ears, which began to sing as soon as Trembling was in the saddle, and never stopped till she came home from church. The fame of the beautiful strange lady had gone out through the world, and all the princes and great men came to church that Sunday, each one hoping that he would be able to take her home after Mass. The son of the king of Umania forgot all about the eldest sister, and remained outside the church so as to catch the strange lady before she could hurry away. The church was more crowded than ever before, and there were 3 times as many outside. There was such a throng before the church that Trembling could only come inside the gate. As soon as the people were rising at the end of Mass, the lady slipped out through the gate, was in the golden saddle in an instant, and sweeping away ahead of the wind. But if she was, the Prince of Umania was at her side, and, seizing her by the foot, he ran with the mare for 30 paces, and never let go of the beautiful lady, till the shoe was pulled from her foot, and he was left behind with it in his hand. She came home as fast as the mare could carry her, and was thinking all the time that the henwife would kill her for losing the shoe. Seeing her so vexed, the old woman asked, "What's the trouble that's on you now?" "Oh, I've lost one of the shoes off my feet," said Trembling. "Don't mind that. Don't be vexed," said the henwife. "Maybe it's the best thing that ever happened to you." Then Trembling gave up all the things she had to the henwife, put on her old clothes, and went to work in the kitchen. When the sisters came home, the henwife asked, "Have you any news from the church?" "We have indeed," said they, "for we saw the grandest sight. The strange lady came again in grander array than before. On herself and the horse she rode were the finest colors of the world, and between the ears of the horse was a bird which never stopped singing from the time she came till she went away. The lady herself is the most beautiful woman ever seen by man in Erin." After Trembling had disappeared from the church, the son of the king of Omania said to the other princes, "I will have that lady for my own." They all said, "You didn't win her just by taking the shoe off her foot. You'll have to win her by the point of the sword. You'll have to fight for her with us before you can call her your own." "Well," said the son of the king of Omania, "when I find the lady that shoe will fit, I'll fight for her, never fear, before I leave her to any of you." Then all the king's sons were uneasy and anxious to know who was she that lost the shoe, and they began to travel all over Erin. The prince of Omania and all the others went in a great company together, and made the round of the country. They went everywhere, north, south, east, and west. They visited every place and left not a house in the kingdom unsearched, trying to find the woman the shoe would fit, not caring whether she was rich or poor, of high or low degree. The prince of Omania always kept the shoe, and when the young women saw it, they had great hopes, for it was of proper size, neither large nor small, and it would beat any man to know of what material it was made. One thought it would fit if she cut a little from her great toe, and another, with too short a foot, put something in the tip of her stocking. But no use. They only spoiled their feet, and spent months afterwards healing them. The two sisters, Fair and Brown, heard that the princes of the world were looking all over Erin for the woman that could wear the shoe, and every day they spoke of trying it on. And one day Trembling spoke up and said, "Maybe it's my foot that the shoe will fit." "Oh, the breaking of the dog's foot on you! Why say so when you were at home every Sunday?" They went on that way, scolding the younger sisters till the princes arrived. The day they were to come, the sisters put Trembling in a closet and locked the door on her. When the company came to the house, the prince of Omania gave the shoe to the sisters, but though they tried and tried, it would fit neither of them. "Are there any other young women in the house?" asked the prince. "There is," said Trembling, speaking up in the closet. "I'm here." "Oh, we have her for nothing but to put out the ashes," said the sisters. But the prince and the others wouldn't leave the house till they had seen her, so the two sisters had to open the door. When Trembling came out, the shoe was given to her, and it fitted exactly. The prince of Omania looked at her and said, "You are the woman the shoe fits, and you are the woman I took the shoe from." Then Trembling spoke up and said, "Do stay here till I return." Then she went to the henwife's house. The old woman put on the cloak of darkness, got everything for her she had the first Sunday at church, and put her on the white mare in the same fashion. Then Trembling rode along the highway to the front of the house. All who saw her the first time said, "This is the lady we saw at church." Then she went away a second time, and a second time came back on the black mare in the second dress, which the henwife gave her. All who saw her the second Sunday said, "That is the lady we saw at church." A third time, she asked for a short absence, and soon came back on the third mare, and in the third dress. All who saw her the third time said, "That is the lady we saw at church." Every man was satisfied, and knew that she was the woman. Then all the princes and the great men spoke up, and said to the son of the king of Omania, "You'll have to fight now for her before we let her go with you." "I'm here before you, ready for combat," answered the prince. Then the son of the king of Lochlin stepped forth. The the struggle began, and a terrible struggle it was. They fought for 9 hours. And then the Prince of Lachlan stopped, gave up his claim, and left the field. The next day, the son of the King of Spain fought 6 hours, then yielded his claim. On the 3rd day, the son of Nearfoy fought 8 hours and stopped. The 4th day, the son of the King of Greece fought for 6 hours and stopped. On the 5th day, no more strange princes wanted to fight, and all the sons of kings in Ireland said they would not fight with a man of their own land. That the strangers had had their chance, and as no others came to claim the woman, she belonged of right to the son of the king of Romagna. The marriage day was fixed, and the invitations were sent out. The wedding lasted for a year and a day. When the wedding was over, the king's son brought home the bride, and when the time came, a son was born. The young woman sent for her eldest sister Fair to be with her and care for her. One day, when Trembling was well, and when her husband was away hunting, the 2 sisters went out to walk. And when they came to the seaside, the eldest pushed the youngest sister in. A great whale came and swallowed her. The eldest sister came home alone, and the husband asked, "Where is your sister?" "She has gone home to her father in Ballyshannon. Now that I am well, I don't need her." "Well," said the husband, looking at her, "I'm in dread it's my wife that is gone." "Oh, no," said she, "it's my sister Fair that's gone." Since the sisters were very much alike, the prince was in doubt. That night he put his sword between them and said, "If you are my wife, this sword will get warm. If not, it will stay cold." In the morning, when he rose up, the sword was as cold as when he put it there. It happened, when the 2 sisters were walking by the seashore, that a little boy was down by the water minding cattle, and saw Fair push Trembling into the sea. And next day, when the tide came in, he saw the whale swim up and throw her out on the sand. When she was on the sand, she said to the boy, "When you go home in the evening with the cows, tell the master that my sister Fair pushed me into the sea yesterday, that a whale swallowed me and then threw me out, but will come again and swallow me with the coming of the next tide. Then he'll go out with the tide and come again with tomorrow's tide and throw me again on the sand. The whale will cast me out 3 times. I'm under the enchantment of this whale and cannot leave the beach or escape myself, unless my husband saves me before I am swallowed the 4th time. He must come and shoot the whale with a silver bullet when he turns on the broad of his back. Under the breast fin of the whale is a reddish-brown spot. My husband must hit him in that spot, for it's the only place in which he can be killed." When the boy got home, the eldest sister gave him a draught of oblivion, and he did not tell. Next day, he went again into the sea. The whale came and cast Trembling on the shore again. She asked the boy, "Did you tell the master what I told you to tell him?" "I did not," said he. "I forgot." "How did you forget?" asked she. "The woman of the house gave me a drink that made me forget." "Well, don't forget to tell him this night, and if she gives you a drink, don't take it from her." As soon as the boy came home, the eldest sister offered him a drink. He refused to take it till he had delivered his message and told all to the master. The 3rd day, the prince went down with his gun and a silver bullet in it. He was not long down when the whale came and threw Trembling upon the beach, as the 2 days before. She had no power to speak to her husband till he had killed the whale. Then the whale went out, turned over once on the broad of his back, and showed the spot for a moment only. That moment the prince fired. He had but one chance, and a short one at that, but he took it and hit the spot, and the whale, mad with pain, made the sea all around red with blood and died. Finally, Trembling was able to speak, and went home with her husband, who sent word to her father what the eldest sister had done. The father came and told him any death he chose to give her, to give it. The prince told the father he would leave her life and death with himself. The father had her put out to sea in a barrel, with provisions in it for 7 years. In time, Trembling had a second child, a daughter. The prince and she sent the boy to school, and trained him up as one of their own children, and said, "If the little girl that is born to us now lives, no other man in the world will get to marry her but him." The boy and the prince's daughter lived on till they were married. The mother said to her husband, "You could not have saved me from the whale but for that little boy. On that account I don't grudge him my daughter." The son of the king of Emania and Trembling had 14 children, and they lived happily till the two died of old age.